It's kind of like asking someone on LSD, how do you feel? Man, just the feelings, the colors.
Synaesthesia is basically a misfiring of signals in the brain. So while normal people have the five senses, if you imagine them like wires, 5 wires in their brain, a synesthete has those wires crossed, so when they experience one sensation, for example taste, they also experience simultaneously another sensation. When I read text, or when I hear words being spoken, or listen to the lyrics of a song, I see certain colors show up in my head.
The colors of the letters and numbers on Sesame Street, today the letter of the day is, they often troubled me because they couldn't get it right. And because Sesame Street was pretty much the only show I watched when I was young, I trusted them. And when they got something like that wrong, I didn't understand how they could have betrayed me like that. So I had problem watching the, I had to flip the channel, or I had to look away before the letter of the day and the number of the day. I was 5, I didn't have many coping skills.
I discovered I had synesthesia when I was 14. At the beginning of 2005, I came across a newspaper article that had an interview with a woman who was describing her condition, and it seemed so similar to mine. I showed the newspaper article to my mother, and she didn't believe me. She said that if you had had it before, we would have known. Don't be ridiculous. For me, synesthesia is a huge positive. If I keep it to myself, it's a positive. If I share it with others, it can usually become a negative because people either don't believe me or just laugh at me. So I keep it to myself, and that way it can remain a positive. One of the most distinct memories I have of being negatively affected by synesthesia, I was 9 years old in year 3, and I had recently moved to Australia, and our teacher was asking us if we could think of ways to remember how to spell words. And I raised my hand and I said, if all of us just saw the word in our head, I meant visualize, but at 9 years old I didn't know the word visualize. If we just saw the word in our head, we would know how to spell it because it would just be there. And she got quite cross with me, and she thought I was being difficult. Synesthesia helps me to retain memories in that when I read a block of text, it registers as a series of colors. So later, when I'm asked to recite that text, or I have to remember a date, or a certain address, or a phone number, it comes up as a series of colors, and that's how I remember it instead of the actual text that I read.
Each letter of the alphabet and each number has a different color and a different personality, and a different gender. A is red and an older woman. B is yellow and younger than A. I is black. So when I see the word ink, I see it as just plain black, which is helpful. J is purple. S, I don't like the letter S. I'll never be able to explain why. It doesn't sit right with me at all. So I'm thrilled that there's no S in any of my names. S is red. There's so much about S I can't even explain. I think maybe I hate Scrabble, it starts with S. And Sudoku starts with S as well. As the colors move down, they get darker again. W is the only exception because it's genderless. It's very big. I always think of Wednesday as being the biggest day of the week, like the longest. Even though I know it only has 24 hours, just like any other day, to me it feels as though Wednesday is the longest day of the week because W is such a larger letter. Y is pale blue and Z is black, and I don't like it.
I'm good at remembering phone numbers, dates, years especially. I'm good at remembering quotes from movies, things that people have said in the past. It's very easy for me to remember the locations of suburbs, the difference between South Melbourne, East Melbourne, North Melbourne, because all the different names of the suburbs have different colors in my head. I'm bad at remembering maths. It took me 13 years to learn my multiplication tables. I'm terrible at arithmetic. It's hard for me to grasp the concept of very vague, abstract philosophical ideas. I'm not good with gray area. I'm a very black and white person. I have to have things explained to me very clearly and deliberately, otherwise I won't be able to remember. The ways that I cope with synesthesia when it gets to be too much is to spend a lot of time writing. I spend a lot of time in class just writing paragraphs over and over, just anything that comes to my mind. It orders my thoughts a lot more clearly. It sort of channels all the different colors just into one color of ink. It just makes it far easier. It makes my head a lot calmer. The thought of the future makes me very uncomfortable because I don't know how it will all play out. I'm much more comfortable with, as I said, things that people have said in the past, quotes, dates, things that are over and done with, things that can be categorized. The future for me can't really be categorized. It's too up in the air. It's too gray, and I need black and white, which is why I'm quite scared of the future.